Oh my gosh, this is probably super weird because it's like, Ashley, what happened? Something looks different, and it should look different because my bookshelves are no longer upstairs. They're now downstairs in our living room. We had to make some adjustments in our household, so I have moved everything downstairs, which is great because now you guys can see all of my bookshelves at one time, which I absolutely love. I think I'm really going to enjoy this this setup a little bit more than what I've had going on before. Now I'm still trying to play, don't mind me, I'm still trying to play with the lighting. So this video, if the lighting doesn't look perfect, just bear with me. I'm still adjusting and trying to figure out what I want to do because this is a completely different situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the second part of my December wrap up. I was going to wait until the very last minute, but I was like, you know what? Today is December 30th. Tomorrow's December 31st. I'm not going to finish a whole bunch of stuff in between now. I did not meet my Goodreads goal of reading 100 books. I think I talked about this a little bit in my first part of my December wrap up, where it's just like I had so much crap going on. So it just was like a no-go for me. Like it wasn't going to happen, and that's okay. I feel okay about that. So what I'm going to do now is I am actually going to show you the last 3 books that I've read for the month of December, finishing out the year. There are a couple things that I'm still currently reading. I'll talk about that, and then I'm going to throw in my January TBR, which is so fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's huge. It's astronomical, but it's mostly comics and manga, so I'm not too stressed. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first thing that I finished for the second half of December is Fables Animal Farm. So this is volume 2 of the Fable series. You guys know that I am doing a reread because I don't remember a lot of what I've already read, and I've talked about this so many times. I'm almost like pretty much like sick of talking about it, but just know that I am rereading it. And I finished up Animal Farm and I thought it was fantastic. It picks up exactly where the first volume lets off, and we get to see the animal side of the Fable town. So fables have both human-like individuals and then also animals that can communicate and talk and do all types of things, like animals from favorite fairy tales and stuff. So this is a great portion. This is about them, and I completely enjoyed it. I thought it was fabulous. I cannot wait to pick up the next volume because I think it's going to be amazing and mind-blowing and fantastic. The next book that I ended up reading for the second half of December was The Cartel. This is the first book in the Cartel series. I believe there's 7, and it's by Ashley and Jaquavis. This is a wife and husband duo, and I picked this one up on a whim because I was just looking for something to read on my phone, and this just happened to be it. So with that being said, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. It is about the Diamond family. They are well known in the Miami area until the head of the family, Carter Diamond, ends up dying. And not dying just because randomly, but he ends up in a situation with another gang called the Haitians. And they set him up, they kill him. This is not a spoiler. It's on the back of the book. And then you have his illegitimate son, young Carter, come in and kind of try to keep the family together. This book is absolutely crazy. I mean, I saw absolutely nothing going on. It was kind of one of those situations where it was, you trust nobody, you believe nobody, you don't expect anybody to live, because when you get attached to somebody, you never know what's going to happen. Some of the scenes, especially the final scene in the book, was quite graphic. So just in case, you know, if you are reading it, it does deal with a lot of drugs and violence. And that last scene was definitely difficult for me to read. If you've read the book, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But overall, I did enjoy it because it was so fast paced. It's a short book, just a little over 200 pages, and I read it in a few days. This is one that my boyfriend and I kind of buddy read together. He listened to it on audio while I read the ebook version of it. And we're really looking forward to reading the second book in the series. We've actually already bought it. So I can't get enough of it. I think we're gonna finish the series in absolutely like no time whatsoever. The only downside is sometimes the writing can get a little extra, like some characters are from New York and they're like ma this and ma that, like it just is excessive and it becomes extremely repetitive. So that's why I couldn't give it a full 5 stars, because the writing was just, sometimes it was good, but then other times it was like, no. Can't do it. And the next thing that I read was Bird Box by Mallerman, and oh my goodness gracious, y'all. So there's a lot of buzz surrounding Bird Box, and I actually read this in 2 sittings because it also is a fairly short book. I am not going to say anything about this book only because I know that there's a lot of speculation going on with the Netflix movie and then people trying to read the book. Just know that I completely enjoyed it. I rated it a 4.5 stars. I took a half a point off for something that I'm not even willing to discuss because it is essentially a spoiler. And if you've read the book and you want me to do a full review, I will. Actually, I'll just plan on doing a full spoiler review whenever I get the opportunity to, but it was phenomenal. It was the type of book that actually made me feel, I don't want to say claustrophobic, but it made me feel like I was always being watched. It made me slightly paranoid. It put me in the shoes of the individuals I was reading about, which is a very difficult thing to do for some authors. But he did it perfectly, where he makes you feel like you're in their position and in their situation. And it is very scary to think that these people are being confronted by something that they cannot look at or else something goes wrong. And that's it. I'm not saying anything else. Just go read the book. Going into my January TBR, there are 2 things that I'm currently working on. The first thing is still going to be Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. I am... See, I have to put the other book in my arm. Such poor skills. Such poor skills. So I am about 244 pages into this, which means I am about halfway through it. And it's one that I am enjoying. I just have not had the opportunity to sit down and read it the way I want to read it. I am making decent progress. I may be able to get even a more huge chunk of this finished before January 1st because I still have today and tomorrow, but I'm not going to pressure myself. I want to take my time, and I've been annotating it, so I want to continue taking my time and continue annotating it, which means that I really just don't want to rush it at all. The next thing that I am currently reading is Fruits Basket, which is the first collector's edition bind up by Natsuki Takaya. And I talked about this in my last wrap up that I was making my way through this. I haven't made any progress since that video. Still only, I think I've read probably like 10 or 15 pages, which in a manga is not a lot. But hopefully this is one that I really do want to finish before the first of the year, because I want to be able to finish the entire series soon, and they're coming out with a spin-off manga and they're redoing the anime. So I need to finish this sooner than later. Okay, so what I'm going to do for my TBR, I'm dividing it into 2 parts. The first part of my TBR, I'm going to talk about the books that I plan on reading, and then I will mention the comments in the manga that I plan on making it through in January. Now in January, in the middle of January, I also start school, so my TBR may change a little bit because I am taking an 800 level English course this semester, and I'm going to have to definitely read for that class. So whatever the required reading may be for that course, I may have to add that into my TBR, but this is going to be my TBR as it stands. Some of these books are probably going to be right across January and February, but a lot of them I'm hoping just to get done in the month of January alone. So the first book that I have here is Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. This is actually going to be a reread for me because I read this a while ago. I'm actually getting a new copy because my copy somehow, I don't know if you guys can see that, but somehow got like coffee stains on it. I didn't do that, so I don't even know how that happened, but I'm getting a new copy of this. I've already read it. I listened to it on audio. I thought it was completely brilliant. I've actually already done a full review on this book, but Becca, I believe, yes, Becca is, and I talked about this in my goals, Becca is hosting a read-along this year for all of the Game of Thrones books, and I decided that I wanted to join in. So they're reading one book each every 2 months. So one book every 2 months. So for January and February, we'll be reading Game of Thrones, and then March and April will be, you know, going on so forth and so on. So this is one that I'm hoping to start. What I'm thinking is that if I divide it like half and half, it'll probably be somewhere along the lines of like maybe like 350 pages this month coming up, and then 350 pages in February, which is completely and totally doable. Everybody knows about Game of Thrones, the Song in Ice and Fire series. George R. R. Martin still hasn't written the 6th and the 7th book, so I'm actually kind of nervous about finishing the series, but I just need to go ahead and do it because I enjoyed the first book so much. So the next book I have here is a book that's actually going to be read over the course of 6 months, and one of my other goals that I talked about earlier this year, not completely earlier, but earlier this month. I don't know why I said earlier this year. Earlier this month, I talked about reading Les Mis and War and Peace. So if you were interested in joining me for reading War and Peace, now is the time. I'm going to be reading this one from January 1st until the 30th of June, 2019. And I'm taking 6 months to read it because it is such a big book. My edition is 1,215 pages. And I was like, I'm not going to try to read this in a month. Not even 2 months. I'm going to take 6 months and take my time. So if I do probably like 200 pages a month, I'll be finished with it by June. And I've read a book by Tolstoy before. I read Anna Karenina, and I really do like his writing. So I don't think 200 pages a month is really asking too much. And if you want to join along, please feel free to do so. You'll enjoy it, I promise. So the next book that I don't have a copy of, and this is a Cosmere readathon that's being hosted by Elliot Brooks. This is another book I have to order, and it is going to be Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. It is the first book that he wrote, and it's the first book in the Cosmere universe. So we're starting with reading Elantris in January and Warbreaker in February. I am really excited to read it. I don't know anything about it, which is perfectly fine. I just really enjoy Brandon Sanderson as a writer. I have heard with Elantris that you can tell that it is his first book, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because his writing is just super accessible and super enjoyable, and I'm really ready to understand the Cosmere universe because I keep hearing about it and I can't read certain books because like his short story collections, like I can't read them because I'll be spoiled for the Cosmere universe. So I just want to go ahead and get through a great portion of his bibliography. The next book that I have here on my TBR is The Lady of the Rivers by Philippa Gregory. This is the first book in the Plantagenet and Tudor series. So basically this is how we get all the way to King Henry VIII and Queen Mary, Queen Elizabeth, etc. So this is where it starts, and it starts with Jaquetta, Duchess of Bedford, and it talks about the Lancaster court. And of course this deals with the Cousins War, which is the Lancaster and York families, and King Henry VII, I believe, was the one who kind of united that all. Although King Henry VII is the one who took the throne from Richard III, then made sure no one else from Richard III's bloodline could inherit it, but then he ended up marrying Edward IV's daughter, I believe, which ended up bringing the two families together. So this is where it starts. This is the first book. I have been putting this off for a long time, but I am super obsessed with British monarchy, and I had not told anybody that ever. I don't even think I've really mentioned it on this channel. I'm super obsessed with British monarchy, like nonfiction and fiction related to British monarchy. I just think it's so fascinating, so scandalous, so much interesting history. And I know that Philippa Gregory is not the most historically accurate, but she is entertaining, and I'm definitely willing to pick this one up. The next book I have here is my middle grade selection for the month, and it is The School for Good and Evil, The World Without Princes by Soman Chinani. This is the second book in The School for Good and Evil. I reread The School for Good and Evil, the first book, this month, and before I begin to forget again what happened, because I was thinking to myself the other day, I was like, okay, so what happened at the end of that book? And I was like, already I'm slipping, so I need to go ahead and jump into this world while I'm ready. This is taking place directly after the events of the School for Good and Evil. So what I'm excited about is seeing what happens to Agatha and Sophie, and how they've changed after the events of the first book. I won't say what, I can't say exactly what I'm making a reference to, because I'll end up spoiling something, and I hate spoiling books for y'all. So this is the second one that I am looking forward to picking up. My classic book for the month, outside of War and Peace, which I'll be reading for 6 months, is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I have seen a couple of adaptations of Little Women, but I have never read it, and I am doing a classics challenge this year, and I just need to get back into reading classics. I really do enjoy classics, but they can be intimidating. They take a longer time to get through, and when you're rushed to make certain TBR goals and reading goals and meet certain reading challenges, classics are not always necessarily the best fit because they do take a longer time. However, I did hear that this is a very accessible classic, and it is often marketed towards children. So this is more so a children's classic, so I'm starting myself off easy as opposed to jumping into, like, I don't know, another Russian lit book when I'm already reading one. So this shouldn't be too bad. I know that the font is extremely small, y'all. I don't even know if you can really see that, but that font is really, really small. But like I said, I did hear it was accessible, and that the four sisters? Yeah, Jo, Beth, Meg, and Amy. I heard that they're really, really great characters to get to know. And like I said, I've seen the adaptations, so I may read this and then watch all the adaptations that have already been made. My young adult selection for the month is Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. I have had a lot of discussion around this book for the past couple of months. This was on like my list of series that I need to start and finish. This is also, I listed this as like hyped controversial books that I wanted to read, and I definitely talked about this in just books that I need to finally get to, and books that I want to reread. So Throne of Glass has been talked about a lot, and it is time. It is finally time. The time has come, the walrus said, for Ashley to pick up Throne of Glass, because I can't talk about it anymore on my channel unless I am talking about the fact that I am going to read it. That's all I need to do. I don't need to talk about it anymore. This should be it. This should be done. But what I was thinking is that if I get enough of you guys to say yes, because I don't want to do it and then like everybody's like, I'm not really interested in it. I wanted to do a reading diary or a read with me of Throne of Glass series as I read it. If you are interested in me doing that and kind of hearing my thoughts and process while I'm reading the book itself, definitely let me know in the comment section below, and I will make that happen in the month of January. And my street lit selection for the month is The Cartel 2, Tale of the Murder Mamas by Ashley and Jaquavis. As I said before, this is the second book in the Cartel series that my boyfriend and I are reading. We were really, really looking forward to this because it was like, we read the first one and we were talking about it and we were like, holy crap, the ending was ridiculous. We have to have the second book. So we have Amazon Prime, and we went ahead and just ordered the second book. So this would be interesting because we only have this one book and we're both going to be reading this one book. So I guess he's going to take it to work when he goes to work at night, and I'll have the book during the day. I'm going to annotate it. I hope he doesn't mind. I don't really care if he minds, because I'm gonna annotate it. So and it's not long, y'all. It's not even 250 pages at all. Yeah, it's 218 pages. I could probably finish this in 2 days flat if I needed to. All right, y'all, so if that isn't enough shit that I'm already reading, I still have some comics and manga that I need to get through in the month of January. But comics and manga take me like 24 hours a piece to read, so I can just read as many of these as I want to. But let's go ahead and get through this pile. This video is already ridiculously long. Like this shit's just ridiculous. So the first thing that I have here is My Hero Academia Volume 1 by Kohei Horikoshi. I'm probably saying that wrong. I am already reading this. I'm on page like, let's see, 78 or 79. So I'm about this far into it, meaning that I should be able to finish this before the year's over with. But I'm tentatively putting this on my TBR just in case I don't finish it and I want to continue it. So far, it's good. It is a shonen manga, very based in superheroes, and I'm enjoying that feature of it. I hadn't read a lot of shonen. Shonen is just usually not my thing. I read a lot of shoujo. My favorite shonen is Food Wars, but this is pretty good, and I can possibly see myself continuing reading the series throughout the year. So the next two I have should be no surprise because these two are part of one of my yearly goals for 2019, and that is to read One Piece by Ichiro Oda and Nana by Ayazawa. And this is volume 4 and this is volume 1. With One Piece, I probably will be reading more than one volume. I think we agreed on maybe 2 to 3 volumes a month. So I just have this one right now because I want to see how I feel about it, and then I may purchase 2 and 3 or I may check out 2 and 3 from the library. I haven't decided yet, but definitely do already own volume 1. And then of course you guys know I own a lot of the Nana series and have read a great portion of it, but I'm doing a soft reread. That way I can continue and finish the series out even though it's on hiatus. I just need to go ahead and just let it go. The next one I have is a random manga series that I checked out from my library, and it's Mononoke Sharing, and it's story and art by Kyu Shinja. I can't say that. I can't say that. This is the same creator of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, which I've never heard of either. This is about 1 human and 5 demons who live together and they're roommates. I thought that sounded hilarious. I cannot flip through and show you the artwork because it has a lot of it's like it almost goes a little bit beyond fan service, because yeah, there's a lot going on in here. But it's really short. The panels are really big. It's just not a lot at all. Like at all. It's not a lot. So hopefully, yeah, this is straight like nudity in this, y'all. I didn't realize that. Holy crap. I did not realize that. Definitely can't show the pages in here. So this is one that I just saw on the library's website and I was like, oh, this looks funny. So I decided to check it out. I looked at some reviews on Goodreads and people do find it funny. So I'll be interested in seeing where this one ends up going. The second to last comic that I have here is Fables Volume 3, Storybook Love. Like I told you guys, rereading, simple as 1, 2, 3. There's nothing really else for me to say about this one. The last one that I have here is John Constantine Hellblazer Original Sins, and this is the it's not necessarily origin, well, it is an origin story about John Constantine and what he does and how he lives and survives in our world while dealing with a lot of individuals from heaven and hell. So I actually have read the first part of this and I remember it because the scenes from it was just like really gross. Yeah, this first scene was really gross, and I can't even reread that scene because it just gives me disgusting, yuck. But I'm gonna start at page 16 and go from there. But I have read part of this before and I wanted to pick it up again. This is more like classic comic book artwork. See if you guys can see that, if that can focus. Yeah, so this is more classic comic book artwork that I have seen, that I'm used to. If I like this series enough, I will purchase it. Haven't decided. I like the story of Constantine, but I have to figure out whether it's something I want to invest in. All right, y'all, so that is it. That is my second part of my December wrap up and my super fucking ambitious January TBR. I didn't realize it was that ambitious until I realized how much time, like my camera actually turned off because I exceeded the amount of time that I could record. That means either A, I talk too damn much, or B, like I just have goals that are unattainable. So I'm gonna go with the second one, although I do know that I talk a lot. This is crazy, but I have faith in myself for once. Like, I'm going to push through and I'm gonna fight to get to my goals this year. I'm sure life will get in the way, but I would just really want to do it this year. I really got to do it. As always, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content from me, make sure you click the subscribe button. I will be uploading videos Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you'll see another video from me tomorrow on New Year's Eve. I really don't have much else, guys. Like, I'm super looking forward to 2019 and I hope you guys are too. Let me know what you're reading in January. I look forward to talking to you in the comments, and as always, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye.